Hey guys, this is Randy. Guys, I've been out with, I know it's been a while, and I'm sorry about that, but I had the flu, type A flu, and then it turned into bronchitis. Anyway, we're back. Make a long story short. That's what happens when you get old. All right, guys, as always, please like, comment, subscribe, and if you'd like to help support our channel, our Cash App will be in the description below. Any help would be appreciated. All right, I'm going to try to remember where we were, guys. I've got a pin, gauge pin right here where we got to drill for the secondary idle circuit. So, can they see that, cameraman? There's the secondary idle hole right there. It's almost in the center of this little part of the casting. So if you look at the angle, you can pretty much tell what kind of angle you need to come in. You can pretty much any drill bit size that's as close to the front one. I would use probably 100 thousandths or as low as 60 or 70. It won't hurt, just for the idle. All right, now that was our modification there. Now I know some people, Bud, drill them right here straight through, but I don't think you don't get where the air and the velocity is coming through under where the butterflies are just cracked. You get more pull in the rear. So think about that a minute. Everything you have to think about how it works. So do it on the side facing the butterflies, not straight down. Okay, now we went ahead last time. I told you I was going to block off this secondary side. These two holes separate the front to the back on the idle circuit. So being we're going to have a 4-corner idle circuit, all 4 sides, we have to put some epoxy in there and then flatten it off nice and flat. And that'll keep this idle circuit working from the front idle screw, mixture screw, and this one, and then the back one will be the same way, because we're going to put a primary metering block in the rear, so it's going to have the same idle circuit as the front. All right, now that's pretty much all of the modifications on the main metering plate. Now this, remember, this is a 750, and I did put like 110 thousandths hole in the front. That's just that's not a big idle bypass, and it's not a small one. It's in between. Just think, if you had a big motor, you probably wouldn't even hardly need this hole at all. If you have a smaller engine, now we're talking about with camshafts in them, high duration camshaft, then this, you'll need even a bigger hole with a high duration camshaft with a small motor. Think about the old big cubic engine, it puts out a lot of vacuum, through the carburetor velocity. Okay, now, our next thing we're going to do, we put air bleeds. This is something we didn't have to do, but I wanted to do it and let y'all see how I did it. I put air bleeds. These are just basically buckets, and for the idle, this is just the idle bleed. This is the intermediate bleed, the main, or you can call it the main bleed for the main well circuit. And I drilled them and I put them in. I had 4 of these little ones that actually were like a jet, had the orifice type on the top. And I think, let me get you the actual dimensions. I think the bigger ones, these are 10/32 that I had, and they were a national fine. They were a fine thread. And the little ones were actually a 6/32, 10/32 on the big ones, 6/32 coarse on the inner ones. And the only reason I did that, I don't like really messing different threads from one another, is I had these in my stock. I only had 4 of them, so I went ahead and used them. So I've got these at 34.5, and these here at 73 to 74, probably 73.5 actually, if you want to get right to it. So I've got them all square, so 73.5 front and rear, and we got 30, probably 34.5 front and rear. So everything's the same front to rear. That's not a perfect balance, because your transfer slot is not exposed on the secondary side on almost all of these vacuum secondary carburetors. So you're going to get a little more fuel in the front than you are the rear. So, but we could tune from there afterwards. All right, one other thing I did, I don't know if y'all remember, I epoxied the idle circuit corner here, the actual corner of this carburetor, because we had, when we stuck this little needle through, it was exposed right here. I mean, you could just see it come right out. There was no metal there. So I put some JB weld, and I made sure my hole went all the way through, And make sure all these holes are there. If they're not there, you're going to have to mark them and drill them. And come off of the front pretty much the same way. You can get your idea of how big, how long you're going to have to go through the front, just like you can the rear. And then you have to make sure this hole is joining that one. Some of them wasn't drilled all the way through. So, and some of them aren't even here. In fact, I think this one wasn't even here. It had the transfer slot hole, but it didn't have the idle hole. So I just put a gasket up there, and then I center punched it, and I drilled it, and come through the other hole. But make sure when you put, however you want to check it, with a spray or real low air pressure, super low air pressure is what I use. I don't want to blow it up in my skin. But you can see it coming through here, from here to here, and from here to here. We know our outer holes are actually our idle circuit, our main idle circuit. Our inner ones over here are your transfer slot. Okay, here we go. Real quick, let me see. I cut out, I forgot about the power valve block off, and I cut it out. This is ugly. I ain't going to tell you it is, but it'll work. All right. Let's see what else we done. We went over the air bleeds. Make sure your choke linkage hole is blocked too. And let's see if I forgot anything. I'm trying to remember everything. I think that's it. Only had to put the epoxy, guys, on this one side, on the linkage side of the carburetor. This side here that has the secondary, air vacuum secondaries, it had enough meat in here. It covered it all up when you drilled through here. I didn't have no problem. Make sure these holes now are going through from both sides, and blend your carburetor good. And guys, I think that'll do this one, and we'll have one more to finish it up. There'll be one more video, and we'll get it. I'll make sure what I said and go over anything I didn't. There's a few more modifications we're going to make. All right, guys, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it, and we'll